So welcome to the Fawn Family of Four. This is a new YouTube channel. We're glad that you're with us. I'm Adam, Leah, Mary Carol, Turner. If you don't know who we are the Fawns, the Fawn Family of Four. And some of you who are watching this, who we hope are watching this, may remember when Leah and I used to do a podcast. Remember that?
Yes. I remember vaguely.
It's been a long time, but we've had a lot of things going on, and as a way to not replace the podcast, but do something a little bit different, we've begun a YouTube channel, and we're going to be recording videos. We'll talk more about that at the end of our time, but one of the things we used to do on our podcast is we used to always have a thankful list for each year. So as a way to sort of kick off this YouTube channel, we're releasing our thankful list for 2023. Got the whole family, and Leah, one difference is, as you said when we were trying to record this earlier, we don't have to have musical chairs anymore.
We can all just sit right where we are.
Yeah, the podcast was the table and one microphone, and so we had to rotate around the table, doing it this way we can all kind of sit together and talk a little bit. So by way of tradition, we're going to go youngest to oldest. Turner, you're first. 2023 is record. How old are you this year?
16.
16. Pray for us, folks. Turner, as you think about 2023, lots of things happening this year. Give us one or two things that you're thankful for as we look forward to Thanksgiving this week.
Well, this year I'm kind of thankful for my car because it's really nice just to drive around. It's, I just like driving around and getting food and yeah.
From where?
Spending gas.
From China Max. China Max, my favorite restaurant ever.
Yeah, so China Max would like to sponsor the program. That'd be right. But Turner is thankful for his car, but you also be thankful for the ability to drive that car. Turner got his license, about 6 weeks ago, I guess?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I will say, Leah, he's doing a pretty good job.
He's been doing a really good job the entire time, I think.
Yeah.
Whenever I was with him, he was really good at driving.
Yeah, so Turner, the changing to 16 thing, obviously a life thing that you're thankful for. Anything else you want to say just specifically about that, or another thing you're thankful for, anything else? So we're going to keep these a little bit shorter, by the way, so that's why we're kind of hurrying a little bit.
I'm also thankful for my job, which kind of goes to the car, so I can drive myself to work. It's exhausting, but it's fun every once in a while.
This thing called work is exhausting. Where do you work?
Tenacity.
Tenacity, which is what? That's Paducah, we might know, other people might not.
It's a Ninja Warrior training program.
Yes, it does. And you work mostly with kind of like children, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Turner works, it's only 1 or 2 days a week usually, but it's a good job. Hey, our first job is not exactly the greatest things in the world either.
He likes it. I think it's a good job for Turner.
So good little, able to make some money. So Turner's thankful for car stuff. It's almost like he's 16 this year. So Mary Carol, as we record this year, how old are we now?
18.
18. I should have gone back and looked how long we've been doing these. I want to say the first one we did, Mary Carol, was like 8. I mean, seriously, somewhere along those lines anyway.
That's what I was thinking, is somewhere in there.
Yeah, we have done this a lot, and so these have gone well. So now Mary Carol is senior in high school, homeschooled, of course. And as you think about 2023, 18,
goodness.
What's something or a couple things that you're thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful that I have already been accepted into college. I've been accepted by Freed-Hardeman.
Yeah, so
looking
forward to
the
that.
Fall.
Yeah, look for that in the fall of 2024. Got accepted, about 2 months ago, I guess now?
Something like that.
Yeah. So why are you thankful for that specifically?
Because I didn't think I had a very high chance of getting in. I'm being dead serious.
Hey, that's one thing we used to say on the podcast. Nothing is not real, right? No, Mary Carol she was very surprised. We weren't. I mean, it was one of those things that we figured you'd get in, but maybe not at that particular moment, kind of. So
I got in, especially without the ACT.
You're going to do well. So looking forward, I'm sure as the channel continues, as next year rolls along, you'll probably have some more things to say about college, as you're preparing for that and finishing up your high school years. And so. Thankfully you got accepted to college. Anything else from this year specifically you think of?
I'm thankful for the trips that we've been able to go on. In particular, the ARC encounter that we got to go to. That was really fun.
Yeah, and by we on that one, you mean the church group, because that was not a family trip. Central was youth group and a few adults went to the Ark Encounter, which if you don't know is it's in Kentucky, but it's in the Cincinnati sort of suburbs. And that was in October, so just last month you got to go to that.
Yes.
Why'd you like that so much?
It put a lot into perspective when you think about the Ark, because you always say, oh yeah, it was this giant boat. But when you actually go and you see that your head doesn't even reach to the first floor level much of all, that you actually have to climb up ramps and steps just to get to that very first level, and there's 3 of these levels in this boat, it really brings the perspective of, this was a giant boat.
Yeah,
if you've ever seen a whale shark, think of 2 of those put on top of each other for the height of that thing.
That's homeschool right there. when you compare the size of something to the size of a whale shark, you're
Really?
homeschooled. Now I didn't get to go, so I still have not been to the Ark Encounter, but the rest of you got to go, so that was a great experience. And a lot of other trips, we'll probably talk about those either in this episode of the channel or some other things. So Leah, as every year I always say, I'm not going to ask you how old you are this year, but as you think back 2023, as our clock goes off, I'll also throw back to the podcast. We always seem to record right around at the top of an hour at some point. What is something you're thankful for this year?
Well, one of the things that we were able to do, Mary Carol mentioned trips, but one of the best ones is we were able to go to Washington, D.C. this year.
Yeah, that was in July.
That for about 3 years, at least, actively, but then COVID happened. Mm-hmm. And so the reason we were going to go had to be canceled, and then we, decided to go on our own. And so we had saved up for a long time, and it was just a really, really great trip. I've been before, Adam's been before, but the kids had never been before. And so we were thinking, what a good experience it would be, especially at their age, to just see all of the things in Washington and experience. We were able to see all of the things, all the major touristy things. We got to go to the Pentagon, which was a very...
We hadn't planned on that before we left.
That was we were at the right place at the right time, went to church on a Sunday and had a guy who worked there.
A Freed Hardeman connection.
Right. And so we were able to go in with special permission. And
thank you, Brock.
And be able to just see some very cool stuff with that. And but anyway, so I thought that was one of mine.
Let me just kind of jump off of that for a second. You got, we did a ton of stuff, so I'm not trying to recap the whole trip, but just what's kind of, now that we're, 4 months after that, 5 months after that, what's kind of like one thing, Turner, that you just kind of still remember is that was really, really cool and you're glad you got to do that on that trip?
I like seeing all the old monuments and everything, like the Lincoln Memorial and stuff like that. That was really cool.
Yeah, so the touristy monuments and Lincoln and that sort of thing. Mary Carol, what about you?
I agree the Pentagon was cool, and what's even better about that is it was completely unplanned until 2 days before it happened as we were on the trip. I'll also agree with Turner that going to see all those monuments and just getting to see, again, just how big things are and prospect of what you hear about it.
How many whale sharks is the Lincoln?
Yeah. You also said you could know I was homeschooled because I can know the sound of a peacock and recognize what it was. I suppose that is a testament to that. But I enjoyed just being able to go through. It really was fun just to get to do that as a family, just going for an entire week.
Yeah, we were going for about 8 days, I guess, maybe or 9, I guess, total, including driving, and we drove. So it was fine. It was good. Everything went well. So anything else you want to mention specifically?
Are we going in a round, or is your
anything else from DC, and if you want anything else, thankful far ahead.
I thought we were going in a round. There's a lot of things. It's hard to just pick 2. One of them is actually right behind us. This year we were able to do our fireplace.
We should have turned it on. Of course, we've been burning up by the time we got through.
We've been saving up for that for a long time. I wanted to do it ever since we moved into this house, and we were able to do that, and found a guy who was able to do just what we had talked about and planned, and so I'm really thankful for that.
Nesting.
That doesn't mean. Well, that People do that when they're pregnant. I'm not pregnant.
You always said this makes your nest. That's what you said about this. It made your nest.
Well, whatever. I still love the
She
fireplace.
said it a lot.
I nested a lot. I don't say that. But anyway, so we've been talking about it a lot, and it worked. It's been so I'm really, really enjoying that place for books. Still not fully decorated. I'm just taking it really slow, but it's been about a year.
It's all right.
Really slow.
You don't want to over decorate.
Well, it also took you about 3 or 4 years to get it, so.
It's true. It's true.
So when I think of mine, the DC trip. Well, I'm sure at some point, Lee, you and I might do a video about just some of the trips we've taken this year. There's a reason behind us using the word trips plural, and if you follow us on Facebook, you probably have figured that out to some degree. But we may take an episode or two in these videos to talk about that. But I'm gonna just step outside of family for a second and just mention something from our church family. And one of the things I've been very thankful for, especially kind of the latter half of this year, is the Central Church of Christ, where we all worship, where I preach. Church is supposed to be evangelistic anyway, but our elders have really stepped up. We had a school of evangelism 2 or 3 months ago, and the church as a whole has absolutely gone in, and doesn't mean we're having baptisms every week or anything. But what makes me the most thankful, and I say this from the pulpit and I say it to people all the time in conversations, is it's wonderful to see the church being excited about what the church is supposed to be excited about. Mm-hmm. You know, we still have events. You know, we've got one coming in a few weeks, or a couple of weeks, where we honor our older members and things. And so we still do some what you might call inside stuff and things, but it is so exciting to see and just hear conversations. Hey, I talked to my neighbor today. Here's how I did it. That is just, it should do every Christian's heart good. But when you see a whole place just really begin to focus on that, and the elders talk about it constantly, it just really does you well, because it's almost like it's what we're supposed to be doing, but sometimes it's not as far as overall. And then family-wise, you all mentioned it. Mine is just the time we've got to spend together this year has been, it seems like more than the norm. Just frankly, one reason we do the podcast as much, because we were actually spending time as a family instead of recording podcasts. But, so this is our YouTube channel, brand new, Fawn Family of 4. What are you supposed to do, Turner?
Subscribe and like.
Subscribe and hit that like button. What is it?
Notification bell.
Hit the notification bell, all that stuff. And we're going to take just a minute or two here at the end to kind of let you know the plan. We're releasing this video. We kind of put some teasers out there on Facebook that something was coming. This is that something. No, we're not having a baby. No, we're not moving. It's the YouTube channel. But this will be the last video probably until the beginning of 2024. We might release a couple really short ones just in December, just to kind of keep the channel moving and things. But here's why all 4 of us are on here, besides just the thankful list. This is not always going to be the 4 of us on these videos. We've talked as a family. There's going to be sometimes maybe all 4 of us together. There may be sometimes it's just Leah and I together, or me and one of the kids, or Leah and one of the kids, or something. But each one of us also has some things we'd like to say through videos, different kind of areas of emphasis. And so in the last couple of minutes, we're going to tell you sort of not specific things, but just kind of general scope, I guess you'd say, of what we're planning on doing when it's just each one of us. If it's some combination, we'll just call it Legacy of Faith, kind of. That's kind of the umbrella of the whole thing. But Turner, when it's Texts from Turner, which is your video set, what's kind of your mindset? What are some things you think you might want to talk about through your videos?
I kind of like talking about Christian teens and like the new generation of Christians or whatever. That's kind of my deal.
So lessons for teens, but also maybe about teens. Adults might kind of get some insight into your crazy world of you youngins today and all that kind of stuff.
Also maybe apologetics too.
Turner really likes apologetics. So
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So and we'll step out of our own areas every once in a while, but that's kind of Turner way. And his videos are going to be called Texts from Turner, biblical texts, cell texts. We're very original around here. Mary and Carol, what do you think? Just kind of just general some things you have in mind that you're thinking about speaking on when it comes to your turns, I should say.
Yeah. most likely some stuff for teen girls for sure. And also, I suppose, some stuff for children. Kids are one of the things that I love doing is helping with kids as far as things go. Which right now we're busy with Central Diggers, which is coming
Actually,
close
this
to
is being
close.
released. We finished last night.
True.
One of the oddities about taping something ahead of time.
But Central Diggers has been a lot of fun, and
we might do a video about that sometime. Maybe interview you about what that's about. So just keep an eye out for that at some point in 2024.
Those classes have been a lot of fun. And maybe just, I enjoy doing stuff with my hands, which means I like to make things, which means I have a lot of little random projects.
Yes.
If you ever saw her room, you would know that was the case.
Oh, come on. I have, so far this year, worked on blankets. I have started
For
making...
crocheting.
Yes,
Yeah.
through crochet. I have started making a blanket to take to college with me. It's getting there. It definitely looks like a blanket now.
So what the videos, how would that play into that sort of thing? Maybe.
Perhaps just talking about the way I do crochet stuff. I do know how to read some patterns, but generally most of what I do is from up here. I read a pattern and take the basics from it, and then alter it to fit what I want it to be.
Yeah. So you've done that. You've made earrings, and your videos. We're simply calling Mary Carol's Creations because that's kind of the name we gave to when you started selling earrings, and so it kind of fits all under that umbrella. So if you see the little logo on the bottom videos with MC, with Mary Carol's Creations, that's when Mary Carol will be on here, and they're her creative videos. So there you go. So Leah, Home for the Soul with Leah Fawn. That sounds all kinds of fancy and sweet. What have you got in mind? Some things you want to talk about in general?
Well, I think for me, there's a couple of things. I'm like Mary Carol. There's two or three different areas. Some of the things are just going to be maybe recording, maybe filming how to make a certain dish, or doing something like that where, I can show steps of how to do some basic dishes so that,
And she can cook.
well, I do my best. So that might be something, and I love, Bible school, and so maybe sharing things about, Bible school organization and things like that. And so just, to me, that's where it'll be from me. There may be some like women's devotional ideas that I, want to share, but it'll be things like that.
Yeah, so Leah's is Home for the Soul with Leah Fawn. She has her own little logo. We all have our own little logos because, hashtag branding is the idea. Mine is called ABC. It's Adam's Bible Corner. And I had this idea some time ago. Frankly, it's kind of where the genesis of this entire thing came from, was putting two things together. One is a way of sort of to bring the podcast back, but I wanted the kids involved. And then there's a lot of times where, especially in Bible classes, I teach Bible classes that aren't recorded. I don't teach the auditorium class all the time or whatever. But hopefully that material is still good beyond that one quarter, and I'd like to share it in some form or fashion. And so probably not all of, but most of my videos on here are going to be Adam's Bible Corner. It's going to be sharing some of those lessons from Bible classes. And I've already got a backlog, not of videos, but of texts of the Bible I'd like to work through here. And so you can see the idea here is very much in the vein of what the podcast used to be. Little of this, little of that, but it's from all four of us. And we really want this to be something that encourages all kinds of Christians, especially families, but all kinds of Christians. Turner mentioned teenagers, but also adults who'd like to look into their world a little bit. Mary Carey mentioned working with children, or working with maybe some young people who, don't really have a friend that lives nearby who crochets or who makes things. Mary Carol's your gal, Leah's talked about homemaking and Bible class and things, and mine's going to be a little more specific as far as Bible lessons, but I'll talk about some other stuff from time to time. And then every so often there'll be some combination of us, maybe doing a quick little interview or just asking about some things, talking about family issues or whatever. But we really want you to subscribe to the channel. We have no idea what we're doing except that we love encouraging people, and that's why we're doing this. We've taken a long time, kidding about the podcast. We took a long time off the podcast to deal with some stuff as a family, to deal with a busy schedule, and just because, frankly, after a while, you're like, do we really want to restart this thing after 7 or 8 or 9 months without doing one? But we love encouraging families, and this hopefully is kind of the next step in us doing that for you. So, Turner, anything you'd like to say before we finish out video number 1?
No.
All right. Turner's answer is no. Mary Carol.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and the notification bell.
Can you tell they're on YouTube a lot? Leah?
Stay tuned.
That's right. The plan is, as we said, we'll begin releasing videos more in earnest in 2020, the very beginning of 2024. I guess we may do 1 or 2 just real quick ones in December, just to kind of keep the channel moving a little bit. But we want to put this out there and then look forward to 2024. We're working on kind of a schedule of when different videos will come out, but that will happen in the intervening weeks. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you either before or in January of 2024. From us to you, thanks for watching.